over to Nigeria. $28 billion in foreign exchange outflows left Nigeria for overseas education between 2010 and 2020. This according to central bank balance of payment data analyzed by online financial advocacy website Nairametrics. The study is part of the website's balance of payment review series, where it aims to take a critical look at expense items that demand the most foreign exchange from Africa's largest economy. Joining us to discuss further is Pelumi Olanibi, who is an analyst with Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Pelumi, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So,
thank you, Rotus. Thanks for having me.
You're great to have you here. 28 billion over. In fact, I think we have the charts. Put that chart up as far as what. Yeah, there it is. So, 28 billion foreign exchange, in education for over 10 years. How has this capital flight, in your view, affected the education system? And just 1 second, Pelumi, just for our viewers. So we're looking at the amounts. That's the blue bar there for our viewers. Is the amounts 2.7 billion per year. And then Nairametrics put that against in orange, the education budget as a percentage of the total, yeah? Okay, great. So that's just so everybody knows all the colors and charts that are there. All right. So Pelumi, what's the impact?
So I would like to start with this because the truth is, to be living in denial is to say that this has not affected our education system because this capital flight or this outflow for foreign education actually has affected the migration of people. And looking at the demography of Nigeria, most part of the population is actually the youth population. And as we know, capital flight typically does not necessarily mean only financial flows, also human capital. For us to attain the long-run economic growth and development that we all desire or that we all want is actually for us at the same time to, the major drivers actually is technological changes and changes in total factor productivity, which includes both fiscal asset and human capital. And this capital flight that we've seen, about $28.65 billion actually in 10 years, is huge. And for the flip part is that there is no, at the same point, inflow of foreign investments in education. It's actually very low, and this is actually affecting our education system. And I won't blame the diasporas; they're not coming back because most of them, once they travel this way, it's actually difficult to come back. Most of them don't even come back because if they had come back, it would have affected our education system because most of them might pick up lecturing jobs, impact into the younger generation coming up, or probably go into different sectors that will stimulate productivity, economic activities, and lead us to this growth trajectory. But because looking at it, to be fair, actually on them, looking at what we have here in Nigeria, they're the better opportunities, talking about employment, talking about I-payment, access to general infrastructural, higher standard of living. You can keep mentioning and listing these points, what you stand to gain. So this drives down to the point that as much as we'll still see increase in this outflow because people are actually coming for, especially postgraduate studies, to travel to different countries where they are exposed to, different, technicalities that will make them competitive in the global market, that will equip them with the skill set needed and all that. So we'll still see this trend
continuing.
Really.
In fact, on the morning show on What's Trending with Kachi Ofia, we took the story of doctors in Saudi Arabia.
It's actually sad.
Doctors, Nigerian doctors who are going to Saudi Arabia for exactly that. So about human capital development, how does Nigeria rank versus other nations?
Okay, I'll take us a bit. First, let me talk about the demography of Nigeria. I think that is important to situate the context of this conversation. Now, Nigeria as a whole, we are about 211 million people. Let's compare that to our neighboring country, say South Africa. South Africa is the second largest country in Africa. It's just about 60 million people. Ghana, close to us by proximity and all that, is actually about 32 million people. Let's look at Angola, 33, and we can keep mentioning that Kenya, 53 million. It shows that at least these countries, Nigeria is about probably 400% more than these countries. Now, let's look at our own Nigeria. Let's look at population and how it's distributed. About 5% of people living above 60 years, about 5% of our population. Now, between age 0 and 14 years is just about 19%. That means that between 15 and, say, 59 years, we have about 76% of the population. And this is the bulk of human capital, labor working population. That shows that one of the untapped resources that we have in this country is human capital. unemployment rate, youth unemployment is actually about 42%. That is very high.
Right.
And remember, these figures are not just figures, they are real people that we're talking about here.
Right.
And so when we're talking about human development index or indicator is actually boiled down to so many indices that brings about that figure. Nigeria ranks 0.53, which is ranked as a low human development indicator compared to other countries. We actually rank 161 out of 189 countries. That is really low.
Right.
Now, this indicator is actually derived using some indices. Now, just to zero down on education that we're talking about and probably health. For health, majorly life expectancy. In Nigeria, our life expectancy at birth is just 55 years.
Yep, that's
Compare that to other countries, we have Kenya 63, Ghana 63, 64 rather, South Africa 63. No, we are very low. That shows that the best you can do at using this arithmetic by 55, you're expected to say goodbye, that you've done your best. And no, really.
And lived your best life.
Really, but this is really sad. And look at education. We're saying that currently in Nigeria today, just 59% of Nigerians are educated. And remember, this education is not tertiary, actually. It's actually secondary living certificate. So it's just 59%. Compare that to Ghana, South Africa, that we have about 74 and 89 respectively. That is really low. That shows that the level of human development in Nigeria is low. What can be done is just one thing. And that, I believe, over a few years now has actually been, no conversations as such has been around that. And that is investment in this sector, education and even health, but primarily education. If you want to see the best, if you want to remain relevant, even in Sub-Saharan Africa, as much as we want to attract investment in fiscal assets, capital flow and all that, we need to invest in our human resource, which is actually a major natural resource that we have in this country.
Excellent point. And I wanted to ask you about, because we covered this on Arise News, when President Buhari went to London for the Education Summit with Uhuru Kenyatta, the president of Kenya. Boris Johnson was there. He made a pledge to increase the amount of education budget going forward. Let's look at the chart again. I wanted to ask you about how you assess the level of investment in Nigeria's education, because again, for our viewers, the orange line at the top, we can see it trending all the way down. So I mean, yeah, go ahead, Pelumi.
Actually, to give a context to that too, if we see the budget for education, I mean, generally in Nigeria, whatever sector we don't place high premium on, we see that investment in such sector is actually low compared to others. And that has been the case for education in over the years, actually, not just in recent time, over the years. I mean, we all heard about ASU strike here and there, lecturers clamoring for increase in payments and,
some kidnapped girls that were students that were just released in Niger State.
All these are actually in educational sector. And if not for the IT insecurity in recent time that has brought about security and all those things are not actually conversations that we've been hearing over the time. And it's important. If you can see, if you look at that graph, typically, we'll see that it's actually downward. Currently now, it's just 8.3% of the budget that fits into education.
6.3 actually.
6.3, thank you. That fits into education. This is low compared to what we actually want. If we see human resource as a potential natural resource that we need to explore, then I think we'll pay more attention to that. Now, looking at also the Q2 budget that came out yesterday, just 0.75%. Education actually contributes 0.75% to GDP. Not even up to a percentage. So it shows that activities in this sector is actually not significant enough, to push growth and all that. And it's one sector that we need to actually explore and actually look into and see what we can do. And I need to mention this. Typically, when governments are actually appraised by people by most of the time macroeconomic indicators. Okay, what was inflation before they got into power? What was it after they left? Unemployment rate, did it increase? Did it decline? These are the questions we ask. We don't look at the level issues like education and the likes, because most times the return on education, for instance, is actually long term compared to constructing roads that probably in 24 months you've done, and you have ease in logistics and all that. We can see improvement in short term, but for education it will outlive the particular government. But we need to see that beyond that, legacy is important, and I would actually advocate to see beyond just infrastructural deficit is there, and we need to address that. It's pressing. I'm not taking that down, but even as much as we have that in mind, we also need to look at education, health, other sectors that will bring this long-term economic growth that we all desire.
Pelumi Olamini, thank you so much for taking us through education. All right, FDC analyst, Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Thank you so much. Appreciate your insights.